It's Saturday afternoon, I'm currently recording this, Spurs are losing 2-0, let me just double check, because I like to say things and then I get it very wrong. 63 minutes gone, Pascal Gross hits the woodwork with a right-footed shot from a difficult angle. I'd never wanted my football channel to become something where we're just outrightly picking on other teams. I wanted it to be focused around the content and less so on like aggressive banter, you could say, but I must admit, Chelsea fans, we are a little bit obsessed with Tottenham. I know that that is the comeback for all opposition fans who say, oh, well, you're obsessed with Tottenham. Yeah, kind of, because it's just funny. It's fun. We've got a successful football club. Theirs isn't quite so much. So it just, sorry, I had to start the video with bringing that up because I got a bit of stick from people on DMs yesterday just telling me I'm a little bit too sad, but I don't care. I'm actually very happy. Look at this face. It's got a big grin on it. Tomorrow, I'm going to Southampton. I bought the tickets. I thought, you know what? Screw it. I can't be bothered to spend a Sunday afternoon sat on my sofa when I could be there losing my voice yet again in the stadium. So I went on StubHub and I stubbed up the courage. That's not even a phrase, but I've just made it one. To buy the tickets, it was a bit more than face value. I wouldn't normally advocate spending more money than the value of a ticket on a football match, but when needs must and all that, you know, we got 3-0! Aaron Connolly at I've literally 65 minutes. I've got the live commentary up on the screen. It's 3-0 to Brighton. Okay, this was not meant to be a video reacting to the downfall of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. This was meant to be Chelsea versus Southampton. It's away from home, St Mary's, match preview. I'm going to try and contain my excitement for what I'm seeing to my left as much as I possibly can. Southampton are a team. Let's talk about our opposition first of all. Ralph Hasenhüttl. He's got the hardest manager's name to pronounce in the Premier League. I actually happened to be able to pronounce it then and just completely get the rest of my words wrong, but that's beyond the point. Well, Southampton, if we look at their results, they've got 7 points so far this season. I'd go as far as to say they've been relatively unlucky with the results, with the way that their season's gone. They've had some great performances, not got results, they've had some good wins, and then they've just been kind of average to poor in other games. So we never really know what we're going to get with Southampton, but what I will say is no matter what it is, sometimes it is the smallest matters of a big game on TV, a big team come down to your stadium where it can make a team just go up a level. So maybe we'll see that from Southampton, but at the same time, Chelsea have been quite good there in recent years, and we're on a very good run of form. We've won our last 3 matches. But the biggest issue, and in my match previews, I try not to make it similar to the match previews of everybody else on YouTube because I try to do mine a bit later. So I'm not going to focus on going through the Southampton lineup and the main, like all of the players that we're going to face and all this stuff. I'm going to focus, as always, on 3 key battles that Chelsea need to be worried about going into this game against the Saints. And the first one is relative to all of the 6 things we learnt videos and all of the red boxes to do with zonal marking. Now, Southampton have got a very good set-piece taker in James Ward-Prowse. He's a good player, he's English, he's decent for them, and whenever it is from a dead ball situation, be it from a direct free kick, indirect free kick, corner, they're always dangerous. They've got big players that can come up from the back, like they've got Vestergaard, they've got Yoshida, who can be a bit of a menace in and around the box as well. They've also got the likes of Pierre Højbjerg, who's actually a pretty big lad, he's quite strong, and they've also got Danny Ings, who's a very conventional striker in the sense that he does like to bully defenders, get himself into the box and scoring. As my good friend Jan from the Football Therapy channel said this morning, he likes to score conventional goals for a striker. I think that was the words he used. I might have got that wrong. Sorry if I did. I did watch the video, I promise. But they've got some players that can really cause Chelsea issues from the dreaded set-piece situation. Now, Frank Lampard, if we address the zonal marking thing for now, he says that we don't have the physicality within this side to be able to man mark. We don't have enough big players to be able to allocate enough of them to mark the big players of Southampton. I kind of disagree with Frank in that sense because I do feel as though there are enough players who, if we're just looking at it from a moment-by-moment situation, I'd definitely back Zuma to beat most strikers or defenders coming forward to attack in the air. I'd also back Tomori to do the same. Alonso, it's arguable. If we start with Reece James, he's definitely a physical presence as well. And Tammy Abraham is a very good striker who comes back and defends very well from set pieces also. So I just do think, no matter what is being said, that we need to try something different. And one of the key battles we face against Southampton is the James Ward-Prowse dead ball situation. Is he going to look for the defenders and Danny Ings? Of course he is. He knows that that's a big frailty of Chelsea, and we've got to get that right tomorrow. I've said that every single game, but it's important. The second key battle is whether or not we're able to deal with the pace behind the back from Nathan Redmond. He's a very quick, he's a very versatile Premier League player. He's been around for a while, and he goes through like little spells of good form. And I'd say that in the last sort of to the end of last season, the beginning of this season, Nathan Redmond has looked like a dangerous player. And I do worry if he's playing on the right-hand side of the Southampton attack. They often play with two strikers. I do worry that Alonso could get caught out of position if we play with a flat back four, which I think we will. Get into my lineup in a moment. Tomori, he did it with Salah, and he did a good job there, even though we lost the game. It's obviously not the same level as Mo Salah, but Fikayo Tomori is going to have to be very careful with both Danny Ings and the pace of Nathan Redmond to deal with when Southampton go forwards. So there's good players all over the pitch for Southampton. Obviously they've got Bertrand, they've got Romeu, ex-Chelsea boys as well, so that may be an added impetus for an extra performance from them also. But the third thing, and I think this is the battle where Chelsea can really win this game, is in the centre of the midfield. They've got players in that midfield, Southampton, who are very technical. They've got players that can score a goal from outside the box. They've got players that can get forward. They've also got players that can get back. And I think the key battle for Chelsea is how we do in the middle of the park tomorrow. And that all depends on one man and one man only. In my opinion, we'll get into my lineup now. And I think you guys already know who I'm talking about. So those are the main points that I think we need to be focused on tomorrow in order not to lose the game. But what is the Chelsea starting 11 that I think is going to win the game for us tomorrow at St Mary's? So instead of building the team directly from the back, as we do in every video, I've decided to just go with Marcus Alonso at left back because we already know who the goalkeeper is. There were times in the game against Lille where Kepa could have wrote the headlines for himself in a real negative sense, and then he somehow manages to pull it out the bag and save the day as opposed to giving the ball away and losing the day for Chelsea. So Kepa is the number one goalkeeper. He proves himself even when he makes a mistake. He gets back on his feet. He dives in at the feet of the striker. I absolutely love that. I used to play in goal myself, and even though this thing right here, which I don't have a clue what this little mark on my head is right now, it's been there for about 3 months. That was the same place where I got studded in the head once when I went down at a striker's feet. Pretty dangerous stuff. We've seen horrible injuries to Petr Cech. That kind of level of commitment and that kind of fearsomeness or fearlessness from Kepa, should I say, not fearsomeness, what am I on about? That kind of fearlessness from Kepa is exactly what we want to see from our keeper, and I think that he was very good in that game against Lille. Some massive saves again as well, so it's a no-brainer. He's in the team. Marcus Alonso at left back because Emerson won't be back until after the international break. Maatsen not ready to make a Premier League debut yet against the tricky opposition like Southampton. Moving into the centre-backs, and I don't think Rudiger's back fit yet, so we're going to stick with Tomori and Zuma. I think the partnership worked very well in centre-back for Chelsea. I don't think the three at the back formation worked as well as I thought it would in the game against Lille. Chelsea were much better when we went to more of a flat back four, so I think Tomori and Zuma will start in the centre-back positions, and we move into the right back, and again, we never really know what we're going to expect at this point. However, for this game against Southampton, I'm giving a first Premier League start to Reece James. I thought people criticised me for giving him a bit too much praise for his performance against Lille, and just to clarify, I was thinking more of a positional sense from Reece James, that yes, a lot of his passes went astray, but I think the way he enabled the centre-backs to actually work the ball out of the defence was very key for Chelsea starting attacks in the game against Lille. With a lot more practice in those positions, with Azpilicueta right centre-back, I definitely think it is something that could work in the future. It just didn't quite work for Chelsea that well in the game against Lille. But in a flat back four, we're going to stick Reece James in at right back, give him his first start. The international break comes. It's not, again, it's whenever I pick Reece James over Azpilicueta, it's not because I don't rate Azpilicueta as a Chelsea legend or because I'm disrespecting Azpilicueta. Some people tend to think that, which is completely wrong, but I think Reece James is ready. I think we've seen good performances from him so far. Let's give him his first start away at Southampton. I reckon he's ready. So moving into the pivot, we're going with a 4-2-3-1 for this game against Southampton. I've gone with Jorginho and N'Golo Kante, and he is the player that I said is the key to Chelsea winning that central midfield battle, and I think that if Kante is playing, we'll win the game tomorrow against Southampton. I honestly cannot stress enough how important N'Golo Kante is to this team. When we've seen him play for Chelsea this season, we go up a gear. He brings that world-class element where he can dribble with the ball, he can tackle, he can defend, he can go forward. For me, N'Golo Kante is almost the complete midfielder. I think that he does need to score more goals, but we saw him do it against Liverpool, and I think that the more minutes Kante gets this season, the more we're all going to understand that he's not a CDM. He's not a player who's just there in front of the defence to screen everything, to win the ball back, to put in the tackles. Kante, to me, is a complete midfielder. In the game against Southampton, if he is in there and it looks as though he's fit, he's been training, so likely he's going to start the game. alongside Jorginho, who is now the vice-captain. We called it here on the George Benson football channel. Very, very happy about that. Jorginho is a natural leader on the pitch, and he definitely brings a lot to the youngsters. For example, the likes of Mason Mount, Tamori, Tammy Abraham, you can see Jorginho always working well with them. And I think that those two in the middle tomorrow for Chelsea enables us to go with the 3 attacking midfielders behind Tammy Abraham up front. And we'll move into those now. And the first one is the first Premier League start for Callum Hudson-Odoi. I'm sticking him over on the left, and you're going to be a bit intrigued by the other 2 players that we've picked to play behind Tammy Abraham, but Hudson-Odoi, I think he's ready. You can just see again, he's a bit like Kante, he brings an extra gear. He came on in the game against Brighton, got the assist for Willian, he got another assist for Willian in the match against Lille, and I think he's ready to start now. We give him 1 start, he's been called up to the under-21, so it's not like we're resting him so that he's definitely fully fit. He's been called up to the England under-21 squad, so he's probably going to get minutes there, which is a little bit frustrating because we want to make sure that he doesn't get any other injuries, but he looks like he's fit, and I would definitely start him against Southampton. He's got that extra bit of class on the wings for Chelsea that I think we desperately need, and he brings that to the team, and I think he could be the difference tomorrow between winning or getting a draw or even getting beat. So the other 2 players in the 3 behind the striker might surprise a few of you. I've actually dropped Mason Mount for this one. And the reason I've dropped Mason Mount is not because I'm not impressed with what he's doing. I just think he looks a little bit tired. I think that the hunger that this guy has to be on the pitch for Chelsea is second to absolutely nobody. And I love that. And I think that Mason Mount has had an absolutely brilliant start to the season for Chelsea. But I do feel as though he's been a bit less energy than what we've seen at the start of the season in the last couple of games. And considering he started the game against Lille in midweek, it's been a long week. I know for me as a fan it's been a long week. I can imagine for the players it's been a relatively long week as well. Maybe we could give Mason Mount a rest, bring him off the bench to inject that little bit of energy in the last 35 minutes of the game if we're chasing the game, or if we need to consolidate the performance, maybe get another goal to seal it for Chelsea. Mason Mount coming off the bench, that bit of pace, that creative energy around the striker and in front of those 2 in the pivot, I think that could be really useful tomorrow for Chelsea. And I just want to stress enough, I'm not dropping Mason Mount based off of a lack of quality or because I don't think he's good enough to start for Chelsea. In my humble opinion, he has looked a little bit less energetic than he has done before. That's the only reason. So on the flip side, who do I put in instead? Well, I've gone with Willian on the right because I don't think it would be fair to drop a man who's in some very good form right now. Even though Chelsea fans still give him some stick, I actually came out on Twitter this week and said that yet again, Willian has reminded me as to why I've loved him so much over the years as a Chelsea player. He's turning up, he's scoring the goals, and that's all we can really ask for from him. It's what we have been asking for and not receiving. So Willian on the right and Christian Pulisic in the number 10. Don't know what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comments down below. I obviously made my message to Christian Pulisic video earlier this week. It got some really good feedback. You guys started a really good discussion there. And I do feel as though this kind of game is perfect for Pulisic for Chelsea. Not just for Pulisic, if we're talking about a selfish standpoint, but I also think in that number 10 role, you could find a lot of different pockets of space. You can be creative, you can play off the last man, you can play those quick passes with Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's very quick and he does like to interchange the ball and transition the play that way. I think this could be set up really nicely for Pulisic, and I think opportunities will come tomorrow for Chelsea, and I do see him starting the game in the middle with Willian on the right, Hudson-Odoi on the left. That is the lineup I'd go for. 4-2-3-1. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. That is my match preview. Tried to keep it as short and sweet as possible. I know we've all got stuff to be doing on a Saturday afternoon. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, so I'm going to go and play a bit of tennis this afternoon. Tennis is my sport of choice if I'm playing, by the way. I can't really play football on my own against the wall at 25 years old. Doesn't quite work out these days, but the George Benson football channel, soon to be known also as the George Benson Football Club, maybe we can arrange some pickup matches over the winter. I don't know, just a little idea that I'm throwing out there. Maybe on any given away day, we could play a bit of football beforehand in like a little five-a-side environment. I don't know, it's just an idea I've had a little thought about, so let me know in the comments if you're down for that. Can be in London as well on the weekend of home games. I don't know, just some little ideas that I'm throwing out there. Somebody also mentioned in yesterday's video, am I going to do merch? I'm thinking of doing some like quirky little Christmassy things like, I don't know, I'm not going to highlight anything just yet, but people have been asking, so I thought I would address and say that yes, I've seen your comments, And yes, I'm thinking about a few things. Let's just call it that. Anyway, the scoreline after 81 minutes, I've been recording for a while, is Brighton 3, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Chelsea travel to Saints tomorrow. Let's go for the 3 points. I will see you guys there. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already and you're new here. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.